So I'm seeing a lot of good discussion in the lorcana space around Fabled. Will Fabled see a reprint is kind of the question on everyone's mind who's in the lorcana space. And with good reason, right? Ravensburger has shown they are not reluctant to hit the reprint button on some product, but they've also kind of turned a new leaf, cut back on their print runs, and they're making moves showing that they're trying to lure in some more collectors for sure. So there are good arguments for both why and they would and why they wouldn't reprint Fabled. I want to first I should disclose my full position on Fabled is as follows. This single booster box, I've said on this channel my sealed goal with collecting Lorcana is a booster box of every set because on average I can collect it for under MSRP. So cool, fun little subset to start collecting. Um, so I'm not here to create FOMO and then unload these boxes. You might think, well, no, you missed the boat. You only have one box. You're trying to create fear and uncertainty out here. I'm a whispers guy. I like gargoyles. That's what brought me into Lorcana, and it's the only set that I have multiple boxes of. In fact, it's gone from 5 to 4. So you're welcome to the sealed community. I'm doing my service out here. Um, but I want to just kind of emphasize I'm not trying to put spin on the ball either way. If anything, I would like this video to serve as like a 30,000-foot view of where we think Lorcana might go over this next year, maybe throw out a couple scenarios and ask ourselves through those what it means for a Fabled reprint. So scenario one is probably what a lot of us are hoping for. If you're watching this video, you probably have some vested interest in Lorcana. You would like it's the long-term health, you'd like the game to have some longevity, obviously. Um, so we're probably all pulling for the scenario where Ravensburger pulls in a hell of a lot more collectors. We add these new rarity tiers, cut back on print runs a bit. We also we start sprinkling in some Pixar. We pull in people who are interested in these different properties, and we give them different rarity tiers to collect. So let's say in this scenario one, this is where Ravensburger reprints. And they say we're not going to create the same amount in our reprint as we produced for first chapter, nowhere near as much as we did in those first like 4 sets, that first block of rotation. We go back to the printers, we get a little bit more of Fabled ready to go, and we get it out to, as we've established on this channel, Ravensburger knows which shops are actually supporting organized play, so they're going to get those boxes to people who are actually interested in collecting and opening Fabled, because they're legitimately sealed collectors out there, folks. But those boxes are going to go to people who actually support the game first, and those customers are going to tell their shop, no, I'm not going to gamble on you. Sell those on the open market before we see them on these websites for the hobby shops, right? Because in this scenario, again, Ravensburger and the shops have been waiting. Anyone who's been supporting this game has been waiting for a box that they can actually charge MSRP for and not have it lose a third of its value within a fucking month or whatever. They've been pining for this. They need a hit box. When people say a resupply would only hurt collectors who currently have Fabled or currently have Fabled singles, I don't think they're taking into the equation that Ravensburger isn't making these moves to pull in players. They established their fan base as players first. And now the moves they're making are to pull in collectors. Okay, well, collectors like hot sets. They like to chase cards. And when they show up for a Pixar set, they're going to get a lay of the land. And if they're actually playing in their local leagues or just even going pre-releases, then they can ask the shop, how do I get my hands on Fabled? Because I don't want to spend 200 fucking bucks. And that shop is going to be able to say, we have Fabled because we support this game. Ravensburger's made sure we get boxes of Fabled. So I wouldn't worry if you're someone who is deep into like the sealed part of the world. Not all reprints are the same size. And we have seen through Ravensburger cutting off shops that don't support organized play that they will get the boxes to people who are going to open them. That's good for sealed collectors. It might be a little bit slower, but it's good that it that the boxes are used for their intended purpose, because that means the boxes that you're holding on to will be fewer in number in the future. Like that, it's there will be a short-term amount of pain, just like first chapter has seen this short-term amount of pain before recovering back up to where it used to be. Because then let's go scenario two. Ravensburger sees the same amount of like organic growth through new collectors, and a lot of them who come onto the scene might look at Fabled as the hit set from before their time. Because I talked about this, when you first get into a hobby, you're going to have such lifelong, like emotionally held memories about what it felt like to be getting your bearings in that space. And for these people who are joining through this next year, to have a some sort of a hype moment of there are fabled boxes are back, and it would shift from this set that people liked a lot from just before I joined up to, oh wait, that's something I could get my hands on, and they'd be willing then to go spend 160, 180, whatever it might be. If Fabled is 250 at that point, they don't reprint till second Pixar set is probably what, September, October, somewhere around there is when we get Monsters Inc. Say Fabled is a 250 box by then. How much is it really going to hurt when shops are able to say, hey, come to us, we've got boxes at 160, 180. Those people don't go to the open market to buy at $200. Again, for you seal people, it means more patience, but it also means the number of people who will want your boxes in the future will increase, because there will be this moment of the original iconics being something that you can chase again. For these people who are going to be coming in these next couple months, and again, kind of just getting their bearings, just trying to get a frame of reference for what they're even chasing, when these new rarities showed up, blah, blah, blah. They're going to really quickly find out, oh man, it's that iconic Mickey and Minnie is where that all started. And there's a reason they called that rarity iconic. Those feelings, or those cards evoke that feeling of, I am looking at something iconic right now. Giving those people a chance to chase those cards is good. Ravensburger isn't going to reprint Fabled for playability. Of course not. They're making these moves to pull in collectors. Collectors like something to chase. They're going to give them something to chase. Hopefully, not a lot of it, because I mean, I got my one box. I want this to go up in time too. But unless you're like over leveraged or something, I just don't know the impatience on needing Fabled to be a very expensive box. I see the argument that it would really hurt collectors if they reprinted Fabled. Motherfucker, collectors haven't been here. They again made players their fan base. The- I they're going to This is bait for collectors. This will not hurt collectors. It will bring them here. So it to me is just a bit absurd to think Ravensburger will pass on producing a box that they'll sell through. Distro's going to pass on a box that they can sell to shops at a little bit higher price. Shops, oh, they're not going to want Fabled that they can actually charge MSRP or higher for. They'll hate that. And all these new people who are coming in to collect Lorcana, they'll be so mad knowing that there are more boxes on the market. I Maybe you're just pumping a box that you have a lot of. I'm sorry, I'm trying not to go on a diatribe, but those are just kind of the scenarios that I see. Is one of them is has Fabled firmly established as the crown jewel of all the people who are coming into this market, and one of those scenarios has Fabled being the send-off for the people who enjoyed Fabled for the first branch of its life. I would rather have the first scenario where they use Fable to bring in more collectors and broaden their overall customer base, because that means all my shit's going to be worth more in the future, right? Is this third scenario, this that apparently people see this playing out in their heads, and it must be when you only look at the price of sealed boxes all day, every day, that new people are going to come into Lorcana because of Pixar or whatever. There's a cool new card in here, and they're going to ask their local game shop. I don't know. Is it really hard for me to find though? I really want something that's impossible for. Like, if I don't have to pay an arm and a leg, I don't want it, sir. Like, get the fuck out of here. I just don't know. Outside of projecting your own fears onto what will happen to the market, I don't know what you're getting out of this. I mean, reprint or no, I think we're all agreeing Lorcana is going to be fine. The future of Lorcana doesn't depend on Fabled. And if you agree with that, if you're bullish on Lorcana's future, you agree that it's more than just Fabled, then why do you give a fuck if they print a little bit more of this one box? Get it to shops who they know those shops are going to actually get it to someone who's going to rip it open instead of go scalp it all over out on the open market. I don't know. I'm rambling at this point. I love you all. The sky isn't falling if we see more Fabled get printed in like September or October. And the sky also for MSRP gang, sky isn't falling if they don't reprint Fabled because the moves they're making are larger than this one set. And I really wish if you wanted to pump up Lorcana, you should be able to speak to more than just a box price of one or two particular sets. Because when that's all I see from certain people, I just think, oh, you're a pump and dumper. Oh, I now know what's on the shelf behind you. Like, what is that all you're trying to get across to people? I don't know. I'm hating. Love you all. Be good to each other. May your polls be blessed and TCGs can be whatever the fuck you make out of them, including like a means of producing some sort of game and getting boxes out to shops and shops get them out to people. I love you. Like, don't shit around me, please. I love you.